true. Sometimes funny, sometimes it's sick.
Greetings and welcome to the Department of Tangents podcast, a conversation with comedian Emma Willman with new music from Wajatta, a collaboration between Reggie Watts and John Tejada. I'm your host, Nick Zano. This episode is a continuation of episode 60 in that I got to see Emma Willman perform a lot at this year's Women in Comedy Festival and caught up with her by phone shortly after to talk about that and everything else she's got going on. She was on the last season of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and she's waiting to hear about next season. She's got a 15-minute Netflix special coming out on August 31st, and a lot of her current momentum started with an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in September of 2016. I had not seen Willman do an extended set live in a while, and she absolutely crushed both times I saw her at the festival. That happens sometimes when a comedian goes away for a while and comes back. You notice how much they've grown, more than you would have if you'd been watching them right along. And Willman has taken at least a couple of great leaps forward since she left Boston. I saw her do a short set on an NBC showcase and then a longer headlining set on her own show, plus a taping of the WICF-sponsored podcast Person About Town, which is up right now on WICF.com if you'd care to head over there and listen once you're done with this episode. Our featured track this week is Runnin' from the album Casual High Technology by Wajatta, a collaboration between comedian-musician Reggie Watts and DJ John Tejada. Stick around for that. And now, here's Emma Willman. I wanted to talk to you about the Women in Comedy Festival. Did that feel good coming back for that and playing so many shows and headlining your own show at the Brattle?
Yeah, it really felt great because since I've been doing it for, I think maybe 3 years, I think it's my third time doing it, it's been a really nice marker because the first time I did it, I did a spot in the festival and then I co-headlined. So this is my first time on Friday getting to headline my own show. So it was really fun because I feel like sometimes with this stuff, like you're just like so in the thick of it with everything that you forget when you're kind of like moving along or coming up with new stuff. So then it's nice. A year is like a short amount of time, but it's also a really long amount of time when you're in it. So yeah, it makes it like, and something, Boston's so extra fun because my mom and sister live there, so I have my family's there. And then I went to college there, so people I haven't seen in a really long time will come out too, which is cool. But what was really neat about this year was that some people came from Crazy X or the radio show or the podcast, so that was fun because in other years it had just been like the built-in audience at the festival, friends or family. So this was nice to have some people that know me from other stuff come.
And you killed. I saw you 3 times at the festival. I saw your headlining show.
You did?
Yeah, I saw the headlining show. I saw the
glad you saw that one.
The NBC showcase and the.
I got flustered at the showcase. I didn't realize I was headlining it. I thought I was just doing 5 minutes. But I had asked someone. They must have gotten misinformation, so then I was confused, so I'm glad you got, but the showcase was such a good showcase.
Yeah, there wasn't really a weak link on that showcase.
It was so good. It was like, I feel like it was like one of the best showcases I've ever seen in my life, to be honest.
It was good. I really enjoyed Maggie Kane.
Was that the girl with Down syndrome?
No, I enjoyed her as well. I interviewed her for this podcast. That's Tina Fremmel.
Tina Fremmel. Which one was Maggie?
Maggie was the one who did the I hope no one is looking at my crotch bit.
Oh, yeah, she was really funny.
Which was so, it reminded me of Bobcat Goldthwait. I hope that I can catch up with them sometime. And Julie Goldman's set,
Yeah, she was great. She's a beast. She was great.
Yeah, I was feeling bad that anybody was going to have to follow her because she absolutely destroyed that room. But then everybody after her, and you were after her as well. I don't know if you were looking at that thinking, I've got to go on after that. But
I was amazed at how much she was able to destroy in 5 minutes too. and not doing like jokey, but like having like that much personality in 5 minutes was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, so it must have felt good to go on after that and have a great set.
You know what is the one thing with New York, and I think it all being at just like the comedians when they're around in New York, is you get really, because now at the Cellar, like they've had like I've had to go after Dave Chappelle, and I've had to go after Dave Chappelle like 3 times, and Louis C.K. I've had to go after him. But Dave Chappelle is like, you know, I have to go after Kevin Hart at the Cellar, because they'll drop in, and then it's like you get bumped, and then if you're supposed to be after them, then you still have to go out. You still get to go after them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was funny. The first time that Chappelle that I had to go after him, I think it's happened a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
The very first time, I was like the first half hour that he was up, I was like, oh, like what am I gonna? The show's over. Like, how am I gonna do it? Then he was up there for like a while. I think it was like an hour and a half. So at that point, I was just like so tired and wanting to get home that like when I got on stage, I wasn't thinking anymore, oh my God, I'm just going after Chappelle who just like leveled the place. It was more just like, I'm gonna get up there and like do my stuff and do my job to like, you know, get home. It was like 2 a.m. at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. And then like, you know, the audience is like with you too, because they get that going after Chappelle is like a tough situation.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like after that, then it makes me not think so much about what other people do when they're on.
Mm-hmm.
Unless someone does a ton of crowd work, then I try to pay attention, because if someone does like a ton of crowd work, or they ask someone in the audience something, then you don't want to be the person that asks the question that they've already got a billion times.
I've seen that happen, and it's kind of...
I've been the one doing that. I've done that, where I'm like, so are you guys together? And everyone's like, come on, they're related, come on. You're like, sorry. I wasn't, you know.
Well, I talked to Rick Jenkins of the Comedy Studio after that about this same sort of subject, and he said when you reach a certain point, you realize you can surf off a crowd's energy. It's not not your enemy.
Yes, that's a great point. Totally, 100%. Yeah, it's like oh, good. Because then also I think when something's really good too, like you like learn to just kind of like appreciate it too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get worried about something or something like that, then that's not going to help you or the situation necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you...
Definitely something I've gotten better about in the past 2 years, I would say.
Uh-huh.
Where I just kind of, no matter what's going on, I'll just kind of still be thinking about like, you know, okay, you're just still going to do your thing.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've arrived at a different level in this past year and a half?
You know, I don't know. I always try to think of it like you're scaling your problems. So I'll be like, okay, you know, a couple years ago I was like, I got to get into Just for Laughs. I got to get a Just for Laughs audition. And then I got a Just for Laughs audition. I was like, I got to get into Just for Laughs. Then when I did Just for Laughs, I was like, I did Just for Laughs, but I didn't get this. So then, or it's like I got a manager, but I got to get an agent. And then you get an agent, you're like, I got an agent. Now I got to get a different manager. So it's like as long as the thing that you're like fixated on, or like I think 2 years ago I was like, I gotta get some acting auditions. How do I get some goddamn acting auditions? And then you get an acting audition, you're like, okay, I got an audition. How do I get a callback? Or you get it in something, you're like, all right, I got in something. How do I, you know, then get my own thing or whatever it is? So I've definitely been scaling my problems up. If that answers that, but you know, it's all relative.
It did seem to me that frequently I'll see a comedian and then they'll go away for a little while and they'll come back and you can sort of tell right away something else has clicked with them. And it's probably easier to see that when somebody goes away and comes back than if somebody's been here all along. But I could tell your physicality was stronger on stage.
Thank you so much.
You seemed more comfortable on stage, and there was a lot of material I hadn't heard before in the headlining set.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've been trying to write a lot. And, you know, that comes and goes, for sure. Like, you know, that sometimes I'll have, like, hitter's block, and then other times I won't. So that I've been trying to write a lot.
Yeah, you had the whole riff about being the man one that I hadn't heard before.
That's pretty new.
Yeah, there was a bit of that had a little bit of an edge to it. The routine where that you had the partner who I don't necessarily want to give away the joke. I'll let you decide how much you tell of it. But you had a partner who was into sort of we'll call it rough play.
The what thing?
That you had a partner that was into sort of rough play, I would say.
Oh yes.
I don't know how much of that joke you want to...
Getting hit in the face, sure, yeah.
Yes, okay, yes. That seemed like a bit of a chance to take in front of an audience to say something like that.
Oh, that's so funny, because, what I thought was a bit of a... It's funny that actually, because I'll usually try, like, when you go to... Like, I was in Vegas the weekend before, now, like, America, that's Vegas, that's like middle America.
Right.
And that was working there, so I felt comfortable about it working in Cambridge. What I was worried about was the man one stuff more because, it is important to, that's why I was trying to say, like, we deconstruct these things, and then some part of us does kind of reconstruct them, and I know it's problematic. I was more worried about that than the hitting one. I was also more worried about, talking about my uncle being special needs, even though I'm not making fun of him, I'm just literally just even talking about the existence of special needs stuff, even though that should be I think it's almost like offensive to not acknowledge if you're doing it in a way that you're just trying to like talk about a lived experience. That I was more nervous about doing in Cambridge than the hitting. For some reason, the hitting seems to be pretty universally responded well to.
Maybe it's because the onus is on the partner who asked for it.
Right. And then also, I'm trying to make it clear that I wasn't confident in the situation, because I think it'd be very threatening if I was like, I was with someone and they wanted to get hit, and I was like, yeah! So it's
right.
got to be more like, I didn't know, I was insecure, I didn't know what to do, and I called my mom. Because it's really about my mom's reaction to the whole thing. Right.
Well, it turns from a bit edgy to a very sort of cute punchline. Your mother's reaction to it. It almost makes the thing quaint in a way.
Totally.
But you seem to be in kind of a delicate or odd position now, where I'm sure you're playing more gigs. Are you playing more on the road now, would you say, than you have in a while?
Absolutely, more than, because it used to be when I was on the road, I was doing colleges, and now I'm doing way less colleges and a lot more clubs.
Mm-hmm. So you're at that level now where you're touring more, and I feel like you're getting more personal than you have, and that seems to be a place fraught with friction, where you're going on the road and you're more, at the same time you're becoming sort of more vulnerable on stage. Do you feel that? Is that something that's a concern?
Sometimes, but it is easier. Vulnerability, as you're doing it with people you've just met, can be a lot easier than when you're doing it with people that you've known for a long time. Not even with friends. It's more like, I think romantic relationships are when it's just the toughest to be vulnerable. When it's people that I'm just meeting or in a show, it actually feels like less vulnerable in a way, which is kind of hard to describe. But I will try to be, I'll still try to, sometimes I was just surprised at how, like, the personal stuff people can still, like, connect to, too. Or like, that man one stuff, I didn't know if, I was wondering if people would just be like, that it sounds insane. Because I used to say it in relationships, and the girls would be like, you sound like such an idiot. And then I was talking about it on morning radio, and we were just talking about dating. I was like, well, it's tough because I'm the man one in it, so it's got to do this and that. And then I was like, I don't know if that's relatable. And then we started getting calls. Callers started calling in straight people, it was all women, straight women being like, well, I've been married for 15 years and I'm married to a penis man, but I actually am the man one in the relationship most of the time, except for when we have to deal with customer service, then he's the man one. And then they were like, or people would call and be like, how do you know if you're the man one or the man's the man one or who's the man one? So then we started having like, people were definitely like getting what I was talking about. So then that made me be like, oh, I could talk about this on stage.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's changing around the country too. Not necessarily the actualities of the relationship, but the how people recognize them, the different gender roles.
Yes, it's not all just this and that.
Yeah.
It's not what we've been told for so long, which was like riddled with problematic everything.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, in the background you might hear my cat Sagie's trying to join in the conversation, as he often does in these. Are you surprised at Oh, you okay there?
Say that last part again.
Are you okay there? I'm hearing some loud noises in the background.
I put you on speakerphone for a second to check on my lips, but then I just took you off. Is that better?
Oh yeah, that's better. I wasn't sure if you could hear me. So are you surprised at what seems to be the more universal material on the road as opposed to what only works in certain places?
You know, I think if something only like really worked in a certain place, I wouldn't really do it. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one. I guess because I was like really surprised at some of the sex stuff and some of the stuff about my mom work, like that story about the ruiner, which I've been doing for a long time now, and I'm actually trying to like phase out. The one I closed on it at the Brattle. I've been doing that joke for like years.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that I used to do at colleges, and that the college kids would like respond to it, and even in like the South that they would respond to it. So I was like really surprised by that. So I definitely do get surprised, but then I've been like really inspired by like certain TV shows that like I feel like, I don't know if I've just gotten more into watching TV shows, but I feel like in the past like 4 years, like so many good shows. Like I loved Broad City. I love the show Billion, Search Party, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I feel like there's these like shows that are just like really well written, and there's tons of other ones, but it made me be like, wow, like those shows are so like funny and different, and just, and there's an audience for them. Like maybe I could try to be a little like go there too.
Mm-hmm. And of course, now you're. I
compare myself to those shows, but more just like I was inspired by that they were like so well received.
Mm-hmm. And now you've been on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how happy were you to be on that show, to get that?
I was real happy. I hadn't watched the show very much before. I'd only seen little clips. And then when I had the audition, I watched a bunch of videos with Valencia in them, the actress Gabrielle Ruiz, because I wanted to see what she was like, because I knew that would be who my scene would be with in the audition. So I didn't really get like the whole show. And then when we did the auditions, and then it happened like really fast. It was like I got the part. I heard that I got it on Monday night, and then I had to fly out there, first flight out on Tuesday. And then I was in the fitting Tuesday afternoon, and then while we were filming, I like went back and like watched all of it, and was like, "Whoa, this is amazing!" But like I already had been watching, I already was doing it before I went back to watch it. Mm-hmm.
Were you hesitant to be on a musical at all? Did you?
No, I was totally down. Totally down. I would be, if they wanted me to sing, I would do it. Like, I'm committed to the production, but it would be, I mean, I'd owe a lot of apologies if I did that. I'm not a good singer. I'm really bad. And, like, I'm like, okay, like, dancer, like, in terms of, like, just, like, bopping around, but, like, choreographed dance.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got cut from, I was just supposed to be doing, like, little background moves, but moves with the kids that were in there's the episode where we have the Sweet 16 birthday party,
Uh-huh.
and I was supposed to be like doing the dance moves with the kids, but I kept, because I don't know if it was a dyslexia or what, but I kept messing up, because, you know, it's like left, right, left, right, left, right. So I kept messing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a couple, like, tries with me doing it, and they're like, all right, like, we'll just have Emma come in at the end with a balloon. So I don't see any much dancing in my future, but, you know, for professionally, but I don't know, maybe it'd be a cool experiment.
Uh-huh. So you weren't the kind of kid in high school who was in the musicals?
Nope. But because I'm a really bad singer.
Uh-huh.
I went to a Waldorf school, and I used to have to go to the office because I wouldn't sing, like, the songs, like, in music class.
Uh-huh.
Like, I would just mouth the songs or kind of hum it, and I'd get in trouble for that.
Uh-huh. Well, I
hate singing, and I hate karaoke even.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe you need to reinvest in that idea.
I'm scared.
And just go to karaoke and get your...
But I love watching singing. Like, when people sing, I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, how'd you do that?
Uh-huh.
Like, when people... I went to go see the live show in New York, and they were, like, singing, dancing, doing comedy. I was, like, extremely impressed. Because when I saw that, and that's, like, a whole show.
Mm-hmm.
Production, all stuff. I had a show of mine after that, like later in the night,
Uh-huh.
a live podcast recording, and I was way more theatrical than even I normally am because I was just like so inspired by what I had just seen on that live show.
Uh-huh.
So I was more like even just, you know, not musical theater-ish, but I was probably like skipping around a little bit.
Is that maybe where the improved physicality on stage these days comes from, or is
Well,
that
you know what? I think that probably is just being more comfortable and then just like practice and kind of like figuring out. You know, it's weird that like the more you do something, then you get like closer to how you actually naturally would talk.
Uh-huh.
But like, yeah, figuring out how to just use your body with what you're talking about seems like it takes a while.
Yeah, and it seems like it would be. It seems like something that would be natural, but it's not.
It's not. It's weird. Yeah, and sometimes if I don't do stand up for a little bit, like if I like around Christmas or something, or I'm taking like, you know, some time off for whatever reason, and not even much. Like say it's like 4 or 5 days. That's the first thing that feels weird because I'll remember my jokes, but I'll be like, oh, how do I move around when I say this?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing I'll like kind of notice.
Well, I'd imagine there are nights when you're just tired too, and you've got to still sell a joke that you've told a lot.
Especially with hosting, that's when being tired is tough. But you know, the only place I really will host that is at the Cellar, and that's pretty fun to host because you just like kind of like welcome everybody, do your material, and then like it's like a good show. So it's like you're not worried about it, and it's like run a very well oiled machine. So. But that's sometimes like I was tired last night and I was hosting the 11:30 show and then it ended up being totally fine and then I was really exhausted.
Well, the Cellar is the place.
You know what? I bet hosting a lot actually has helped with the physicality stuff because then you're kind of like going around. What about you over here? You over there? I bet that's helped. Mm-hmm.
What's your experience at the Cellar been? That seems to be the place you want to be in New York City.
It's great. It's like. You know, they just do everything like just like how like everybody treats you. They're just like so like respectful and nice, like the staff and then the people that work there, and they all just like really put the comedy part of it first, like which I feel like I mean a lot of some clubs in New York do that. I would say, yeah, it's been really good because it's just really like a neat like place to be a part of.
Well, it almost sees like it's.
I was shocked. There was an article. I was shocked. It came out. I think it was within this year. Came out and it was like to dismantle the boys' club or something, and it was talking about the Cellar. And it was that was so weird for me to read, and it was like kind of upsetting because I was like, they haven't been. I mean, there's more. I've seen more Muslim comedians at the Cellar than anywhere else. Muslim, queer people, people of color. Like it's booked by a woman. I think Val Liz, the general managers are women. Like, I was very surprised when there are so many places that are just, entrenched in maybe not having lots of different types of voices, but that's, like, certainly not one of them. I actually hadn't seen, I think I'd only seen one or two Muslim comedians before I've been, this Sellers, like, has shown me different, like, I've seen comedians that I hadn't seen before, and it's really, maybe the person was thinking of a time, maybe they came by on an off night or something that was not. But did you see that article? Right, the one.
I did, and I saw some of the talk about it afterwards. I feel like that the criticism revolved mostly around the comics table.
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, that's 100% not been my experience at all. Couldn't be further. I don't think that I think that maybe they were, like, using that as a euphemism and hadn't actually been by. That's the only thing I can even think of.
And for people who might not know the comics, it's sort of famous or infamous. There's a table of the sort of, I guess, the bigger comics, or what's
the backwards reserved.
Yeah.
But even it's like, I mean, they always had. I mean, like, Amy Schumer and Rachel Feinstein and Nikki Glaser, I think, and then there's always been, like, The Wall has, like, tons of women on it too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
It's an interesting thing. When I wrote about the Women in Comedy Festival for the Boston Globe, some comics said that they were really looking forward to being on a show with more women, that was mostly women, that they'd not had that experience mostly in touring around the country. And then there were some other comedians that said, I put my own shows on, and I have a lot of women on the show. So there's that sort of mix. There are opportunities. Maybe it's not equal everywhere around the country. And the other part of that is, in writing that article, I was thinking, do I write about the problems, or do I write, if I write about the problems, am I giving short shrift to the abilities of the women who are actually on the show?
Oh, that's so interesting.
What should take up more space in that? How do I balance that?
Right.
So what are your thoughts on, now that you sort of been touring around more, about
Well, it's
that?
interesting because when I was at that showcase, actually, because I was like, it was just like a really great showcase, and I was like, what, this one thing that was really cool about this was that it was all women on it, but once you were there, you didn't even think, it was like, once it was all okay, it was all women and they got that space, then it was just a really great comedy showcase.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of like we needed it kind of showed that you could have a amazing showcase with all women where you don't even think about it being all women, because it's all different, like, kinds of perspectives and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like we needed the Women in Comedy Festival to, like, give the opportunity to have a showcase of all women where then you don't even think about it being all women. Right.
You needed to take a somewhat extraordinary step to get to that point, to remove that
exactly.
barrier. And there are a couple of other festivals around the country that are female heavy, right?
I did the All Jane Festival. That was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. Yeah, I guess it's not. I guess there is something nice about, when it's like kind of taking the people that aren't in the dominant group and giving them a space to just get to experience that. And even the opportunity to get to experience that is like a pretty, like, privileged thing that, just to be able to, like, have that experience. When I'm on showcases that aren't all women, because you really just try to, like, think, like, about yourself and what you're doing. So I'm not like, I'm not like, oh, it's all men, but I'm guessing it's, you hear plenty of women, there's going to be women that say, like, something like racist or homophobic too. Mm-hmm. So you're not, like, necessarily in totally a safe space, but it's probably more likely. But at the end of the day, it's still a comedy club, so.
Mm.
It's like it's just like I'm not quite sure how to say that. I'm not really sure how to finish that thought, actually.
But it's still something that's in your head. It's still something that's at least in the background, something you're thinking about. That it's.
Well, I actually don't. I'm usually not thinking of if something's all women or not, or I'm not really thinking about. I'm not even really thinking about who. The thing I think about most about, like, okay, who else is on the show? Is I'm thinking about like the energy, how much energy different people have.
Mm-hmm. Have you played gay and lesbian festivals as well? Is that?
No, I think I wouldn't do that.
Why not?
Maybe now I would, but you got to be careful. Like on the Women in Comedy Festival showcase, like I said, like I don't want to do I'm not open to an LGBTQ showcase because I'm not. That's not what I want.
And going back to,
I'm the man one, but not the lesbian man one.
Going back to Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, was that was being on that show a confidence booster for you? Would you say, sort of generally career-wise?
You know what it was with acting so much because I used to get so frustrated with acting auditions because I'd be like, I would feel like I just, I could feel myself not being good in the audition. And for a long time, instead of empowering myself, I would go, I hate acting auditions. I'd be like, I hate mushing lines into my little brain and then not getting the part, and then it feels like it's going nowhere, and da-da-da. That's the wrong attitude. So then I took a couple acting classes, and each time I got an acting class, each time I got something popped up where then I had to like leave and I couldn't do the class. So I was like, that inflamed the dislike of acting even more because I was like, and now I'm losing money on even trying. So then I had a moment where I was like, okay, I need to try to like focus and figure this out a little bit more. And I started like just reading like books on like, auditioning and understanding scripts and stuff. And then I got an acting coach. And when I started working with the acting coach, I started being like, oh, okay, like, you have to really like relearn everything because you're like learning to listen and you're in a way that you know exactly what the person's going to say, but it has to be like the first time you've heard it.
Right.
And you can't be jumping on the timing and knowing the whole thing, but it's not about you, it's about the writer and everything else with acting. It's not, it's like, it's about the story and the scene and all that stuff. So I had to kind of like start learning that, but then it was like I had just started working with the acting coach and like really working, and then we got the call back, and I wouldn't have gotten it if I hadn't been working with the acting coach because we like spent a lot of time on it. And then I worked with him before the callback, and then I worked with him before every episode that I shot. I worked with the acting coach before, except for one, because I only had we did table read, and I only had one line in it. So I'm like, I'm not going to work with the acting coach on this because, I don't think I need it. And then at the table read, even with that one line, I was like, damn, I should have worked with the acting coach because there's like nuances and cadences and stuff that I wouldn't have picked up that he just has like a trained eye to be like, yeah, you only have one line, but in the line I was walking in and holding some coffees. And he's like, you're holding coffees on a hospital tray, so the coffees are slipping around, so you're coming in and you're disheveled. And I was like, damn it. I hadn't picked up on that.
Well,
then it was a confidence boost because it made me be like, oh, if you actually, you can improve if you it's one of those things where it's like, oh, if you go running, you'll feel better. If you drink more water, you'll feel better. And then you're like, nah, and then you do it, and you're like, oh, I feel better. That's what it was like. Because I put the time in with the acting coach, and then I was like, oh my God, that helped.
You didn't necessarily get into stand-up to act, right?
Say that one more time.
You didn't necessarily get into stand-up to act. That wasn't necessarily a goal, right?
No, but I always wanted to do other entertainment stuff, too. Like, I definitely always had, like, my sights set. No, I always had my sights set sometimes to do TV stuff, too, for sure.
And what's your status for next season on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
Well, it got picked up, and I'm in the season finale, and then I did get to go to the GLAAD Awards, but I don't know for sure if the character will be in the next season, but I hope so.
When that news breaks, I'll mention something.
You'll be the first to know.
I'll mention something on the blog as well. And did you're very much sort of on the rise now? Did that sort of start with the Colbert set? Was that
Hey, you know, it really did, and you know how? Because shout out to Jessica Pilot too. It really did because it helped me then. So I did that, and then it helped. It's not like it's like the next day all of a sudden something else happens, but it helped me get a different agent and like agency, and then it started helping, which then in turn helped me get like the ball rolling and creating synergy with the other people that I work with, and then that is what helped move forward everything else. Because I mean, like, so the acting agent who like helps get me acting auditions, like, he's really good and he's really encouraging. So with the Crazy X audition, I was in Halifax doing a show, and the internet wasn't good. And his name's Kent, and I was like, Kent, like, I did it with the acting coach, I filmed it on my phone, but now the internet's not loading, like, I don't think I'll be able to get this into you. We'll just have to think of this like a practice with the acting coach. And he was like, please just find some way to get internet. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. He was like, come on. Like, but he's like very, like, nice. So I've heard the, like, just come on, please. So I felt like when I got Kent, like, you pushed a boulder up a hill with that one. But Colbert is what helped me get this new, like, team of people. Because before them, I had an acting guy that, I had absolutely zero faith that I would have gotten the same opportunities. So this Colbert helped then. It's like it's nothing is everything, but everything is something. Has to always be like proactive about. There's so many people. Like, even when I first got a college agent, people were like, "Oh, no college agents approached me." I was like, "Me neither." I reached out to some. And the first one was like, "Yeah, you look like Ellen. I want in." And I was like, "Oh, that was easy." And then I reached out to a bunch of other ones to see if they'd be interested, and every single one of them was like, "No, no, 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 no." So I went back to the first guy and was like, "Okay, let's do this." And you got to be like proactive about it. So Colbert helped me then like be proactive, and then help me start working with other people that are also like a good fit.
Well, you also had to weather a little bit of a storm with Colbert. You were supposed to be on once, and you got bumped because Bruce Springsteen wanted to keep talking.
And my mom was there that night, and she was like, "They bumped you." She's like, "They can't do that." And I was like, "Yes, they can, and it's totally fine." And she was there, and she's like, "What? That doesn't seem right." And I was like, "Shit." Is Bruce, like, and they were like very, very nice about it. And they're like, "We're gonna have you back right away." Like, and I was like, my honor to be just bumped by Bruce Springsteen. My pleasure.
Right. And then you got to do it again. Was your mother in the audience the second time?
She got back, and I said, "You know what? I don't want anyone to come with me this time around." So it's just me and the booker the second time.
So where does that leave you now? Are you looking for more acting projects? Are you working?
I've been auditioning a lot, but let me tell you this. I just had an acting audition where I had to pretend to be a cult leader to get ready for the part. I like watched all of these like cult leader speeches, and I was like afterwards, I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this, because like it's not. I can't watch a bunch of cult leaders talking to try to get into character. I was trying to talk people. I don't want to give away too much about the audition, but it was like, yeah, like a real scary cult leader person. So I was like, I am auditioning a lot. If you had asked me this 2 days ago, but maybe I need to just focus on comedy auditions. But I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to keep working the acting muscle. And then I'm trying to write a scripted show.
What stage is that in? Just sort of the...
I'd say like
Mm-hmm. And the next big thing, you've got 15 minutes on Netflix.
Yes, on the Netflix one. And we shot that a couple months ago. And 15 minutes is nice because then if you come to a live show, you won't, besides the Ruiner joke, that joke, if anyone's seen that, then the joke is different material, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. And that
gives you like a good chunk of stuff to work on for if you try to do something else.
And that should be a big boost for you when it hits Netflix. That's always a nice
we'll
boost.
See. You never know, but maybe.
Wait, do you know when that's airing?
It's supposed to air this summer. I think they said in June.
Mm-hmm. And what else have you got coming up? What should people...
I've got my podcast with Mateo, which we do every week, which is a lot of fun. And I've got some tour dates up on my website, and then I'll be back in LA doing filming a secret project in September.
Mm-hmm. And where can people find out more about you?
At emmacomedy.com.
Okay, well, thank you very much for
thank you so much.
Doing the interview. I appreciate it.
I'm glad we got to run into each other.
Hell to the hell isn't always a trick.
Thanks again to Emma Willman for speaking with me, and to the organizers of the Women in Comedy Festival for letting me run around taking photos and interviewing people. You can find out more about the festival at WICF.com and more about Willman at EmmaComedy.com. And that's Willman with 2 L's and 2 N's. And she is Emma Willman on Twitter. Catch her 15-minute special on Netflix starting August 31st and follow her for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend news. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please consider leaving a rating or a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. And check out our previous episodes, including full-length podcasts and mini-casts. You can also follow the Department of Tangents on Twitter. We are at DEPT_O_tangents. And now this week's featured track, Runnin' from Wajatta, a collaboration between Reggie Watts and producer John Tejada, a bigwig in the underground DJ scene. Most people probably know Watts as either James Corden's bandleader or from his time on Comedy Bang Bang, but if you've seen him live, you know what a comic and musical genius the man is. He makes loops and improvs lyrics and sounds and ideas in front of an audience, and it's like nothing you've seen. Watts provided the hooks and loops, and Tejada produced the final product, a spacey, dance-minded collection of grooves and hooks. The album is called Casual High Technology, and this is Runnin' from Wajatta.
Neil Young.